Hey, scrappy people, it's Traci Reed here today, and I am scrapping a layout for a fun new feature that we're doing on the TRD blog called Mix It Up Monday. So I have these photos of my husband and I on vacation. You can see that they are very orange and green, and so I want to scrapbook a layout with the Rooted collection and the My Person collection. So that is what the gist of Mix It Up Monday is we're combining two TRD collections together to make one layout. Now, I decided that we would start with My Person and Rooted because they actually go together pretty well. The greens are similar, the red tones are similar, but the Rooted collection definitely has more of an orangey vibe, and the My Person collection has more of a wine, like bluer vibe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean heavily on the My Person collection for specifically for the papers because they're really going to match these orange pants really well, plus the green too. And then I'm going to rely more on the My Person collection for the sentiment because obviously it's my husband and I, and so the My Person collection is going to be perfect for it. So let's see how this plays out. If you are interested in seeing more examples of My Person and Rooted mixed together, there is a link in the description box below to the blog post. So let's go. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each collection and I'm going to pull out whatever I think might work with the page that I'm working on. I'm going to use mainly papers from Rooted and embellishments from My Person, although I do use a lot more embellishments from Rooted than I thought I was going to. I'm going to use this plaid as the background because I think that it does a good job of bringing in the greens and the coral from the right hand side, but not too much of the pink, which is like a totally different shade of pink than what I'm using over there. So I decided I wanted to use these envelopes that I had made in 2021 when I released this collection. I made a whole bunch of embellishments for a series on Instagram, so I decided I wanted to use these as the base of my layout. So I'm going to put a envelope on each side. On the right hand side I used the green Monstera one, on the left hand side I used the black one because I thought that the black was like a more neutral base to start pulling in the colors from My Person. So My Person and Rooted are pretty similar in color, but the difference is that Rooted has a really orangey coral red, whereas My Person has more of a burgundy blue-based pink. So the only place that I'm really going to struggle with combining these two together is in the pinks. So you can see that I have sort of cascaded my photos and my cards across the layout. And so this gives me a good solid foundation to start incorporating embellishments. And I have these clusters that I created again last year. I decided I wanted to bring in some more of the leaves from that paper, so I decided to incorporate that cluster. You can see that I took that pink heart from the sticker sheet of My Person and I put it up there in the top right hand corner because I wanted to bring in some of that pink to the other side, but if I put it up there in the top right corner, it kind of doesn't clash and it leads your eye across the page. So now I'm going to struggle a little bit here with how I want to embellish, and I'm going to get it eventually, but the problem that I had more than like choosing embellishments was actually down there in between the two pages where the cascading embellishments, they kind of arch. When I get this page together, I don't love the empty space in there. Like, it made sense before I embellished, but once I get the embellishments down, it just kind of looks like weird open white space. And so I have to really fuss with things and make things work across that page. So I'm going to actually start embellishing the page, and then I'm gonna have to start pulling things up down the line to sort of make things work. So I'm debating between the green and the pink rainbows on either side, trying to figure out what would work better. I want to incorporate this paper clip, this large paper clip embellishment cluster that I created last year. Again, like I said, I have more embellishment clusters for the Rooted collection than I do in individual embellishments, which is cool because it makes the page come together easily, but it's a little rough too because I have to really commit to very large pieces if I want to incorporate Rooted embellishments. And so it makes a really cool layered effect though. I really like the way that paper clip finished off that cluster, but I really have to think about it. In some cases, like with this flower, I have to pull apart embellishment clusters and make them work right. I felt like I needed more black. So there's black in the envelope. There's black up in the top right corner of the other page where it says love this so much. So I felt like I needed at least one more place of black. So I decided to incorporate that black flower. And of course it needed a leaf, especially since there are no Monstera leaves on this side. So I wanted to make sure that I had those pretty leaves on that side as well. Then I put the rainbow at the top to sort of match the other side. Now this is where I start to struggle a bit. So I'm going to incorporate these large frames from the kit into this page. And because everything is already glued down and everything is sort of already arranged, I really have to like struggle to get things into place, and that's okay. I'm going to cut out most of the struggle here because it's just a pain in the butt, and so you don't need to watch that part. Just know that it took quite a bit of effort to get these in the correct place. No big deal, because when it's done, it really makes the page come together better, in my opinion, than it did before. Like, we bridged the gap between the pages, and it makes me feel like there's less of a trapped white space down there in the corner. So I'm going to use the green on this side, and then I used the wood grain on the other side. And so we've got kind of those two placement, or those two frames placed across the page so that they overlap just like at the top, but there is still there's some weird trapped white space in between the frames. So we're going to deal with that too as soon as I can get everything glued back down. I'm going to have to punch holes in this paper like 18 million times because I keep putting things over the holes. Okay, so now we need to figure out something about like, what are we going to do here with, especially on the plaid side, there's like that weird place right there that's just, it's awkward. It's just awkward. And so we're going to put something there. I'm going to look through the embellishments that I've already rejected. I kind of like that, but it doesn't fit well. I like that one, but it's not going to go there. It's going to go underneath that. Need something on that other side though. We're gonna find it. So I keep flipping through everything, trying to find something that would work there, but not like overwhelm. I thought about hearts, but there's so many different icons on this page. I felt like I didn't want too many hearts. Like, I'm okay with adding this one, but trying to add one on the other side too was just too much, especially since they're right next to each other. It was just a little much. So I find this XOXO, and I wasn't intending to incorporate the burgundy from the collection into this page because I felt like it didn't quite match with that corally orangey red, but because the wood veneer that is on that paper clip has a really reddish undertone, it sort of worked. Like, it brought in the more red, blue-red undertones and made this XOXO work in a way that it probably wouldn't have if I didn't have that other place of burgundy. Plus, there's that burgundy in the rainbow at the top, so that works too. I'm trying to make this come together. I felt like I needed a little bit more of the orangey red, so we use this flower, and now we are good to go. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Traci M. Reed. There is a blog post linked in the description box below for this collection. All right, thank you.